welcome to ABC in the morning, live here on ABC News GH. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, the 23rd day of December 2025. This is the eve to the eve of Christmas. I remember when I was younger, there was a storybook I read and it says on the eve of Christmas, Santa Claus came and put this and that and that. So today is the eve of Christmas. We look forward to celebrating Christmas, and for many there are different reasons for which they celebrate. For believers like myself, Christians, we celebrate it because of Jesus Christ. We say that he's the reason for the season. I hope you are enjoying your holidays so far. Some people are already off work, beautiful, and I see them having fun, but there are some who are not off work, but they are making sure they balance work and fun, and I think you're doing a great job at it. Yesterday I was going through social media. Some people said they went for a concert, they closed at about 5 a.m. and they how they made it to work by 8 a.m. they do not know. I was like, well, you're doing a great job being able to balance it all. That's nice. I hope that when the holiday is kicking and you have some free days, you'll be able to spend those days with your family, your friends, your loved ones, and also do all of the relaxing things that you have planned, or you're able to go through all of the itinerary that you have planned for the Christmas season. I hope you've had a great morning so far. For those of you on your way to work, have a safe trip to work. If you're taking it easy at home, I hope that you really do relax and have all of the fun that you will. There's a lot on the show today for you and I to discuss, and I am so happy that you're joining us this morning on ABC in the morning. We're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube, ABC News GH. And so if you're leaving home, rest assured you can still catch the show on these channels, on Facebook and on YouTube. You can also interact with us via socials at ABC News GH _X, Twitter or X, Instagram and TikTok. Just send us a message if you want to send any wish to your friends, your family, your loved ones, and we'll be glad to do that on your behalf. Our website is www.abcnewsgh.com, abcnewsgh.com, where you can catch all of the news there. We have so much for you, like I mentioned earlier. The Constitution Review Committee has submitted its report. There's so much that is captured in the report. I'll not bore you with this at this point, because on our front story, that is what we will be going through. Samuel Imabo will be joining me here in studio as we go through what the report is recommending to the president. One of the things that stands out of the report, and yesterday was all over the news, was the 5-year term for a president. And so the review committee is suggesting or recommending to the president that instead of 4 years, there be a 5-year term. It also says that within the Constitution, it did not find anything that backed the third term for the president. You'd realize that for a while now, this whole conversation about third term has been rife. A third term for President John Dramani Mahama. The president himself said that he was not interested in it, but some party members and faithfuls of his party have continued to trumpet this third term, saying that the country is on the right direction, and so a lot of Ghanaians are calling on President Mahama to go for a third term. Well, the review committee says that it did not find any legal backing within our constitution to suggest that the president can look at going to a third term. So we'll look at that on our front story. We'll break down the committee's recommendations for you. On our main discussion, however, we will now have some conversations on the review committee's report. We'll speak with different stakeholders so that they can also share their thoughts with us. I mean, the biggest stakeholder is you, and so I'll be looking forward to having you follow the conversations so that when it's time for Ghana Speaks, you can call and share your thoughts. Not only will we look at the Constitution Review Committee's report, we'll also look at the Attorney General's press conference he held yesterday at the Government Accountability Series. The Attorney General took the podium once again, twice in almost a week. Nice. He took the podium once again and gave us some information that he thought we should know, this time on Bernard Enchiboisiako, popularly known as Chairman Untumi, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the NPP, and Kofi Akpalu, former flag bearer for the LPG during the 2024 elections. He gave us some information we should know about him concerning corruption and all. We'll look at conversations all around that. Yesterday, some matches took place during the AFCON. The AFCON that Ghana is not represented at, but like I told you, even though we are not there, we'll be bringing you all of the highlights and updates so that you too can follow the African Cup of Nations. And so the sports team will be here, and then we will go through the AFCON. And again, I'll open the phone line so that you can call and share your thoughts with me. I love it so much when you call and share your thoughts. And so 053-916-1609, 053-916-1609 is the number you will call to share your thoughts on. If you have any wish, any birthday wish, any celebration that anybody is celebrating and you would love to send them your best wishes, can you get in touch with us? Slide into our DM, send us a message on social media, and we'll do well to celebrate them for you. We also have an executive interview today. There's a church holding a program, a choir that is holding its end of year singing program, praise and worship program, and so we'll speak with them and understand what they have for us and why we also should be there to praise God, end the year in praise and thanksgiving. We have all these for you here on ABC in the morning. AB supported by my production and technical team. I want to send them a special shout out for putting together today's show. I am ABENA MANTE. I'm so honored, I'm grateful, I'm thankful to you that this morning you have joined me here on ABC in the morning. It's a Tuesday, a very beautiful Tuesday. Tuesdays are the most beautiful days in the week. Yes, I said so. And so thank you so much for joining me here. After this very quick break, someone you will join me here, and then we'll bring you our front story. Stay with us.
To do my wedding jollof.
Oh, Kwame. You know our secret, right?
Yeah.
Efia.
Yes, me. I've got it.
Now add your Gino jollof mix.
The perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time. And there you have it, your original Ghana jollof.
Jollof so good.
Jollof so cool. Tasty, yeah.
What is going on here?
Enjoy jollof the Ghana way. Gino jollof is made with the perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time.
This advert is FDA approved.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Winning, easy. You know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore. This advert is FDA approved.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, come and see what. Wait, this guy. My friend, see before.
It's the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telecel Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telecel Play app to opt in and start winning in the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
Amacho, sister man ko. When is campaign? Sister man ko. If you're baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto echiaka. Inti enne, wo no ba no mpe baby amobeda. Oh, no abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
After a very long while, many of us have been looking forward to the Constitution Review Committee's report. It held a series of meetings with stakeholders, the ordinary Ghanaian, everybody, just so that it could get the best input into its recommendations. Finally, the review committee's work has ended. They have submitted the report to President Mahama. They did that yesterday in the afternoon at the Jubilee House. And so this morning on Front Story, that is what we will do. We'll go through this review committee's report so that we can all appreciate what the review committee sets or wants us to do about it. Well, my colleague Samuel Nyimagbo is here. Sami will be helping me, or I'll be helping Sami, or be helping each other go through the report so that we can all at the end of Front Story appreciate what is contained in it. Because yesterday, the kind of commentary I read on social media, I always say that everybody should have a social media page so that you can enjoy some commentaries on some topics, very, very nice ones, especially on this 5-year term. Sami, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Were you looking forward to the report as much as a lot of Ghanaians were looking forward to?
Yes, I was looking forward to it because everything that has been happening over the period has been hinged on the committee's report. When you make a comment, I mean, in the political landscape, you hear the politicians suggest that we are waiting to see the constitutional review make a suggestion in it and all of that. So this report was very much anticipated because it will have a sweeping effect, and the effect it has for us is very huge. And you would recall that this is not the first time we are going through this process, this constitutional review. In fact, this is like the third time Ghana is trying to review the 1992 constitution. The first one, which was commissioned by the late Professor John Evans Atomils, after he passed, they didn't see its fruitfulness. Then the previous administration led by Akufo-Addo also commissioned one, and they also didn't finish. They couldn't even finish. I don't think they submitted the report. They did submit their report. Okay, they submitted the report. We didn't hear anything from that. Now there's a third review that is commissioned by John Dramani Mahama, and they have finished with their report, submitted it after close to about 10 to 11 months, right? Because they started this somewhere just after the government took over. So somewhere in January they started. So almost 11 months into the administration, they have finished with the report of with the constitution review report. And if you look at what happened, they met several stakeholders, like you mentioned, from the key stakeholders in government. They even met with past president, and then they met with former president Akufo-Addo, former president J. Kufuor. They met with the former vice president Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, met with former chief justices, all stakeholders, and they met with industry personnel. So it was, the stakeholders was wide, huge number of engagements. And after all of these things, they've come out with what I describe as a very interesting report.
Now let's get into the interesting bits of it.
The document itself is over 100 pages. I think it is 112 or 121 page document, fully fleshed, giving us a review of our constitution, taking it article by article, clause by clause, what they believe should be reviewed and then changed in the constitution. And we'll try to break that down for our viewers this morning. And one of the critical points of this review was the focus on the executive arm of government, and by extension the president, the powers the president's willed, and how to reduce the appointment powers of the president, and also make sure that the president does not become the executive president as we have it now. It seems, as stipulated in the current constitution, 1992 constitution, a lot of people say that the constitution gives the president too much power. So the review has tried to wither down the powers of the president, taking some appointments, and even taking some appointment powers, and even making sure that when it comes to appointment, he's limited, and making sure that the president is fully focused on the administration, on governance. So if you listen to Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh yesterday, when he was delivering the report, he says that what they want to achieve is that, or they wanted to achieve, is that they have a president who is fully focused on governance and not on running campaign. You know, they come to power, the first 1 year of the administration is now used to set up the government, 6 months set up the government. Then the last 1 year is more like a campaign period. So you look at the report, they are setting up a specific campaign period. And also they are taking some appointment powers from the president, so that he will not be too concentrated on who am I appointing as a district chief executive, who am I appointing as head of this company, head of this state institution. So all of this is done to make sure that the president is fully focused on the governance. So now let's zoom into this constitutional reviews report. Now, if you look at the first one, the first proposal is that the committee proposes no amendment to Article 66 Clause 2, as we find no ambiguity regarding its meaning and no need to extend the two-term limitation on the number of terms a person may be elected to hold office as president. This is very important, because there was a suggestion that the NDC administration is seeking a third term for President John Dramani Mahama. In fact, that suggestion first emanated from the minority in parliament, and it started to gain prominence on the airways, started becoming a conversation and all of that. So the point that when the Pandai seat was declared vacant, the minority sought to suggest that it was all employed it was all part of the plot to get Mahama a third term. Now, with the Constitutional Review Committee coming in, they said, first off, they do not see any ambiguity and no need to amend Article 66(2) of the Constitution, and hence making sure that the president's tenure is limited to 2 terms. So we are not going beyond 2. So it means that President Mahama has no reason to seek a third term. So I think this closes the chapter on that third term conversation, if the Constitutional Review Committee is anything to go by. But one thing we should know, that the committee's report is not final. It is the implementation or the white paper from the president that makes it final. The president says a committee will be set up, an implementation committee will be set up early next year after the festive season, for us to look at how we can implement some of these recommendations. Note that some of these recommendations might be rejected or not fully implemented as they are stated. there might be some amendment into some of these recommendations. So we wait to see that. But as it stands now, no third term for any president, be it Mahama or any other person. Now, the committee recommends an amendment to Article 66(1) to extend the length of a president term from 4 years to 5 years. Now, this is another important or very intriguing, interesting recommendation presented by the committee. They said that the 4 years the 4 years that the current president and presidents of Ghana have enjoyed over the period is not enough. It's limited. So we should give them 5 years, because the committee believes that, and I'm going to quote, I'm going to paraphrase what H. Kwesi Prempeh said yesterday. Okay. Says that the first 6 months of every administration is used to now form the government. Then it seems that the last 1 year, instead of focus on governance, it's more focused on what? Campaign. So that's when the president is seeking a re-election. So he zooms from governance to what? Politicking and campaigning. So they are not focused on delivering promises, but they are focused on delivering promises that win an election for them. So it's to do that, or to make sure that the president is fully focused on governance, we give them 5 years. So they take 1 year for they take a period with the constitution. The review also recommend a specific period for campaigning, and then we have a period to form the president or the governance of the president. Hence, by the time we realize, out of the 5 years, we must spend 1 year doing the campaign and then setting up the government. So they have a full what do you call it? They have a full 4 year term in terms of real governments to deliver. So the committee saw some need to increase the tenure of a president from 4 to what? 5 years. But this cannot exceed 2 terms. You must know that. The third recommendation was that the committee recommend an amendment of Article 62B to lower the minimum age a person must attain to qualify for an election as president from 40 years to 30 years.
I agree with this one.
I really agree with this.
Because why should you have to tell? I've never been a fan of the phrase that says that life begins at 40. That has begun for some people at 20. And so, yes.
And this is very intriguing. I like this.
I like it, yeah, because if at 30, you are thought to be very, what's it called? Emotionally sound. Yeah. You can take decisions on your own. There are 30-year-olds who are heading.
We start giving voting rights to people at
18. So why should you wait all the way to 40 before you can start?
I mean, they say you have to be responsible. Show that you are.
Who says at 30
you can't be responsible? So I fully agree with this recommendation.
Sammy, you want to be president?
Oh, I beg you. I beg you, but it means that it opens the gate for the young people.
I'm interested in maybe 2 election cycles away. As we'll see how it goes. At least for the NPP, we know that now all the people in there are
above this 40.
Maybe for the NDC when it starts,
so you begin to see some of the young people in politics trying to
very much so
to come forward for the presidency. And I believe it is the right way to 40 years, dear Charlie. Someday inside,
presidents will say, I beg you.
Someday inside, let's not go there. Even those who are in power or who are in politics are shifting, or they are dodging that question. How much me? How much more me? Those in actual politics, they are dodging this question.
Sammy, you're explaining.
Whether you want to be a president, they are dodging. Have you watched that interview when Napo is struggling so hard to dodge the question of whether he has presidential ambition? I mean, they don't have. Please, let me be categorical. So, another recommendation was that the committee recommends an amendment to Article 68(5) to provide that the salary, allowances, and facility payable to the president under Clause 3(4) of the Article 68 shall be subject to tax in accordance with applicable laws. The president shall similarly be subject to payment of indirect tax on goods and services, including import duties, on the same terms as every other person. The first review constitutional review that was commissioned by the late president,
Professor Atamils.
Yes, J.E. Atamils, right? Had this recommendation. I was very interested in it because in the current constitution, our president do not pay tax. They don't pay income taxes. Abena, the huge salaries they take, they don't pay income taxes. You your small salary, you're not confused. They tear you income tax. Yes, when they buy goods, services, they don't pay anything. Import duties, nothing. So the president was enjoying all of these things. All presidents have enjoyed them. So it was part of the reasons that people believe that they didn't want to implement the first review report, because when you implement it, all your income tax or your what do you call your income is now subject to income tax. Your goods and services are subject to indirect taxes and import duties and all of that. So I am very much for this, because you can't chop that money and not pay tax, and we are not confused, we are so tearing us tax. So this is a very important.
So you're happy about this one?
Yes, very much happy.
And I'm sure that
I think they just took inspiration from the first two recommendations, the first two reviews. They had the same thing inside. I hope that when the implementation committee is set up,
they will not remove it.
They will not take this out. It has to be implemented. They have to pay income taxes. The committee recommends an amendment to clause 1 and 2 of Article 71. Another very interesting one that I like. Article 71 to provide, just that I wasn't so happy with how they coined the whole brofo and everything. Let's get into it and we understand it. Now the committee recommends an amendment to Article 1 and 2 of the 19th of clause 1 and 2 of Article 71 to provide that the salaries and allowances and the facilities and privileges are available to persons holding public office, generally including the president and the holders of the other offices included or listed under clause 1 and 2 shall be determined by the proposed independent public emoluments commission.
So there's going to be an emoluments commission.
Remember this whole conversation about Article 71 office holders, all the ex gratia and communities that they enjoy, their emoluments.
You know, there are some periods during the governance where some words become constantly used. Emoluments. Yeah. Article 71. Emoluments. Ex gratia. Yeah.
Right. So this is all about ex gratia. Parliamentarians receive ex gratia. Presidents, former presidents, and then vice presidents receive ex gratia. All those under Article 71 office holders who are under Article 71 receive ex gratia. Now, what the committee is recommending is that we set up an independent public emolument commission who determines the term of payment of these ex gratia, whether it will be paid once or paid a monthly, or we even scrap it, or the committee would say that we make it as part of your SNIT. It becomes more like it makes it like a pension fund and not what they call it, not just direct payments after governance. We give you direct transfer, then you go and take and all of that.
A few months ago, one of our parliamentarians, I've forgotten who it was, spoke in Parliament concerning a separate fund for
in fact
for them.
The Speaker of Parliament recently held a program where he launched a pension scheme for parliamentarians.
Great. I had an issue with that one. Isn't SNIT enough for all of us as a people?
I mean, maybe they enjoy. They have privileges that you don't have. So yes. So the Speaker, because parliamentarians don't have a pension scheme as it stands now, so they don't pay SNIT, don't pay pensions and all of that. Nothing.
They should just enroll them onto SNIT.
So they've set up a new pension scheme for them. Hopefully, I hope that ex gratia will be converted into pension SNIT for them, so that after your 4 years you pay SNIT on your monthly salary. Right, they add SNIT to your salary and calculate it, SNIT deduct it and everything. After your 4 years, if you are out of government, you are done with your. We don't pay you any ex gratia, nothing. And I think that is better, because the same thing the ordinary Ghanaian, the public or the sector workers goes through after retirement. There's no retirement fee for you. There's no ex gratia for you. You just receive your SNIT and sometimes some small amounts like this, and you go home with it. So I was thinking they were going to scrap it totally. Like by now they say we've scrapped ex gratia.
You'd have been happier.
I would have been much happier, but this is still something to be happy about. Let's see how the implementation committee goes with that. So let's continue. Now, the committee recommends that amendment to Article 78(1) to provide that no member of parliament may be appointed a minister of state or a deputy minister or regional minister. The committee further recommends as a companion amendment that a member of parliament who resigns from parliament shall not be eligible for appointment as a minister of state or deputy or minister or regional minister.
Sammy, you're smiling. When I saw this, right, the first thing I said was that the many people who are scrambling to get into parliament because
to use
they
that
want
to get ministerial
position
wouldn't be happy.
Right, and if this really stands, if the implementation committee sits and find reason or meaning in this and they decide to keep it, I think it's going to be interesting in the next.
I'm not. What it means is that I fully do not.
You don't fully agree with it.
With it because most of our brains, those who are into politics, they are in parliament. So if you say that if you become parliamentarian, if you become a parliamentarian, you can't hold a ministerial position. It means that the government must be formed, all the ministers must be formed outside of parliament. And the question is, do we have the capital, the human resource for a party to form their government outside of parliament?
You don't think they do?
I think that because of the old standing what do you call it, provision in the constitution, most of the resources, the human resources with the brains have zoomed into parliament. So if you change it immediately, the parties might suffer.
Don't you think that it's also on the right path? That keep them in parliament. There are so many technocrats out there. Maybe now we'll be forming
governments with technocrats.
Yes, we'll have ministers who are not politicians. Somebody has done a great job maybe in the health sector, and then the person comes to head our health sector. You understand?
I think that there would be a huge
because when it comes to human capital, I think we do have it.
Yeah, I think there will be a huge program with the implementation of this.
Really, I don't see a huge program there.
I don't think wholly the implementation committee would fully implement it. I am thinking that they might have to look at how they will amend this to implement, because if you say that even if the person if you say that even if the person resigns from parliament, he's not eligible, it means that, say, my president or my party comes to power, I'm in parliament, but I want to go for ministerial position, I resign from parliament, I am not available.
You see, that's just trying to plug some of these holes. How many times, Sammy, how many times have we not heard that our ministers are not in parliament? They are not showing up in parliament because they are attending to ministerial duties, and so they are not there. How many times haven't we heard it? Government after government, the minister is busy, the minister has a lot on his plate, the minister has to do this, has to do that, and so the minister is not in parliament. Meanwhile, he is there to represent the people, and so at that point it is government's business over the people's business. But this I
understand all of these things, so the nuances are huge.
Yeah, I am actually for it.
Okay,
yes.
The nuances is there, because if you look at this in another angle, someone will say that if you say I can't be a minister by mere fact that I am, even the parliament, today you speak to a parliamentarian, you see them objecting to this.
You know, I foresee a lot of, when I read it yesterday, right, I loved the bit because I felt like, you know, the number of people who are putting themselves together for the next election for parliamentary seats because
they want ministerial
appointments. So now you are saying that parliament
I think the whole reasoning, I'm not with the Constitutional Review Committee, but I think their reasoning is that separation of powers we have been talking about, that the executive should be separate from the the legislature, and I think they are seeing this as a way of fully decoupling the two and making sure that separation of powers works totally. But I foresee something. I foresee a struggle.
Right, that is granted. But at the beginning of this parliament, I'm failing to recall who said it. But one person from the minority raised objection to the fact that the majority said that majority leader is the leader of government business in parliament, because he felt that separation of powers.
But we had a whole minister of parliamentary a minister of government business in parliament.
Right.
Chairman Sabos was a minister.
That's what I'm saying. So many of these things raise concerns. When Philip Kwashiorforsu became Minister for Government Communications, people started raising concerns. You're a parliamentarian. How are you also the minister?
That's why I foresee a struggle around it, because if we are going to select, look at the current government. How many ministers are not parliamentarians? You can't count them. That's a handful. Almost more than 70% of the ministers are from parliament. So if the next administration, if they implement this, and you ask them to choose those 70% from outside parliament, they'll struggle.
So I mean, I don't think that
they'll struggle to get it.
Before you move away, I don't think that we have an issue with the human resource or capital, because at least
politicians has one thing. They call it no contribution, no chop. It is the one who contributes to chop, and most of those who contribute to the winning of the elections are those who are in parliament.
Well, so this is a way to streamline and sanitize.
So those who contribute to the winning of, I'm talking about the practicality here. You are looking at how it will be helpful, the ideal situation.
So let me land
because of our political system, the practicality will make it in a way that the person who contributes to the winning of the election will be parliament.
Well, I'm coming from the human resource angle that
who was sitting somewhere. He's somewhere that because you feel like the person is a technocrat, he should come and be the minister.
I'm bringing you something.
The girls to campaign. So this is the practicality I'm looking at.
Okay, I'm also looking at the human capital aspect that you raise. You raise concerns that when we get the people, because you want these persons not to be in this same position. But don't forget that when you were standing for MPs, nobody goes unopposed. About 3 people can go and vie for the primaries. So if one person decides, always people
to come to let's see how that's going. The report is voluminous. So let's go. Let's continue. Let's leave this to the implementation committee.
I hope they keep it. I really hope they do keep it.
Okay. Now, the committee also recommends an amendment to Article 78(2) to provide that the total number of ministers of state, including deputy minister, regional minister, shall not exceed 3 times the number of ministers in cabinet. And you know, by constitution, the number of ministers in cabinet is 19. So pursuant to Article 76(1), the number of ministers of state in cabinet is capped at not more than 19. This means that the total number of ministers of state, including deputy ministers and regional ministers, shall not exceed 57. There's an additional provision to this. They say that no appointment of deputy ministers. So I don't understand why they are adding deputy ministers here. But under this, they added that they recommend that no president should appoint deputy ministers of state. So it means that we shouldn't exceed 57. Mahama said he was doing 60, and we have 60. But following the passing of the 2, we now have 58 ministers. So they say that don't exceed.
After Christmas, we should enjoy our Christmas.
After that, he will add it to them. We'll go back to 60. Let's not exceed
57. Interesting. I like that. Protect the public purse. Yeah. But did they say anything about the various appointments?
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
So let's look at next. Now, the committee reasons that the nature and extent of the discretion enjoyed by president in making an appointment to a public office, this is what you are talking about, to a public office established by or under the 1992 constitution, including the offices listed in clauses 1 and 2 of Article 70 must depend on the nature of office in question. So in furtherance of this principle, the committee proposed a classification of public offices based on the degree of independence or political detachment that is appropriate for the performance of the function of the office. The committee classifies appointment under the Constitution into 4 categories, namely 1. Executive offices, 2. Independent offices, 3. Hybrid independent offices, and the hybrid executive offices. And they make provisions for how appointment is supposed to happen. This is where they took some powers from the president, the appointment powers of the president, how appointment is supposed to happen in terms of executive offices, independent offices, hybrid independent, and hybrid executive. They define that. Let's look at the next slide, which has definition. Now, in respect of an appointment to an executive office, the president shall have the plenary power to select or choose the persons to be appointed, subject in limited instances to the prior approval of Parliament, e.g., where the office involves the enforcement of laws or is appropriately subject to direct Parliament oversight. So executive offices include ministers, the deputy ministers, and those who work in the Jubilee House.
Presidential staffers.
Presidential staffers, and those are the office of the vice president. It says that for those appointments, the president has a plenary power to make those. You don't take that away from the president, and I agree with that. You don't say that somebody should supervise the appointment of a minister for the president, because he knows who he can govern with. So for the ministers, the president should have the power to appoint them, just that it's subject to the approval of Parliament as it is done. Now let's look at the 2. In respect to the appointment of an independent office, this is where the point is. The president shall make the appointment acting in accordance with the nomination or nominations presented to him by an independent constitutional body following a competitive meritocratic recruitment and selection process administered by the body, either alone or with the professional or administrative assistance of the Public Service Commission. Now, the primary independent nominating body, the committee proposed for the submitting nominations for appointment to independent constitutional offices is substantially the Reformed Council of State, and in the case of certain judicial appointments, a Reformed Judicial Council. So independent bodies like the EC, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, all those independent bodies that the constitutional provide for their autonomy, right? The review report says that the president can only make the appointment following a list or nomination that is presented to it by an independent body, an independent constitutional body. In this case, the Council of State.
And he calls it the
reformed. They provide how to reform the Council of State. So we'll get there. We'll look at what the Reformed Council of State is. So he says that the Council of State is the one supposed to make the nomination to the president after a meritocratic, look at the description, a competitive meritocratic recruitment and selection process. And there's a process the Council of State or the Judicial Council will have to undertake. When they finish that, they submit a list of nominants to the president to make appointment for that into the independent body. So it is not like as we have it, the president gets up, he makes the appointment to the EC, he makes it to the EC, makes it to the Office of the Special Prosecutor or any other independent body like the STRACH and all of that, right? So they say that there has to be a supervising council, an independent council, in this case the Council of State or the Judicial Council. Let's look at the third part. In respect of an appointment to a hybrid independent body or office, the president shall make the appointment acting in accordance with a competitive meritocratic acting in accordance with the advice of a relevant nominating body or governing council following a competitive meritocratic selection process administered independently by that body or council. So the same thing, there will be a governing body that supervise the nomination, and they submit a list to the president to make that nomination. Now, this is in respect to the hybrid executive offices like the Inspector General of Police and all of these things. These are hybrid independent bodies like the National Commission for Civic Education,
NCC.
And National Media, the NMC, the National Media Commission, NCA, National Communication Authority. These hybrid independent bodies, this is what the committee calls as hybrid independent body. There should be a governing council to nominate people for the president to select one, and for the heads of the security councils and all of that, it's the same process. Now, the president shall make the appointment acting in consultation with the relevant body that exercise policy responsibility or oversight over the office. For example, the governing council for that office, that is the police council in case of the Inspector General of Police, and the Armed Forces Council in case of the
Chief of Defense
Staff. This is the review in regards to that. So if this is able to go to, at least it takes some powers away from the president in terms of what appointments, right? But some people wanted radical reforms, such that we just say that the president doesn't even have to nominate
anybody. He doesn't.
Like, it is the nominating body, the governing council will suggest the list, the number, the person you should appoint, whether you like it or not. That is the person. But in this case, there's a list that will be submitted to the president, and he chooses one out of that. So let's look at before this. There's one before this. Let's see if we can get that. Okay, we've done this. So let's go for it. Now, no appointment or nomination or offer of employment to a public office may be made or extended to any person, the term of which will not extend into the next administration. No new contract or commitment, including a salary or wage increase, may be granted or offered that is not already approved in the current year appropriation. No transaction for the sale of purchase or grant of a leasehold interest in a public land or sale of any public asset to any person may be commenced on concluded. No bill may be introduced by a certificate of agency. This for parliamentarians. So let's go to the next one. We'll come and get there. Yeah, this for parliamentarians, and the other slide followed this, so we jumped a bit. Now the committee recommends an amendment to Article 93A to provide that the president shall parliament shall consist of not more than 226 elected members, 276 elected members, thereby capping the number of member of parliament at the president's level. So they say that we shouldn't exceed 276 parliamentarians, and I fully agree. There are too many in that chamber, Abena. And I don't think we need to form new constituencies. If there's the need, let's merge constituencies for parliamentarians to take to look at to represent them. We don't need to create new constituencies and all of that. Now, the committee recommends this for parliamentarians. The committee recommends an amendment to Article 94(2)(a) to provide that a citizen of Ghana by birth who otherwise meets all other qualifications shall not be precluded from contesting for election to Parliament merely by virtue of holding the citizenship of another country, whether or not the second citizenship was acquired voluntarily or by operation of law, and shall therefore not be required to renounce the other citizenship either before contesting for election to Parliament or upon election as a member of Parliament. So they say that dual citizens can contest to enter into Parliament. That provision that precluded people with dual citizenship from contesting in Parliament or for contesting to enter into Parliament is thereby taken off if this implementation goes on. I was not too intrigued. I feel like this is to serve the political elite. It means that they can hold 3-4 citizenships and still come to Ghana and say they want to enter parliament. When they enter into parliament and something happens and they are supposed to face prosecution, they jump to that place, and then we have to be seeking for them to be extradited and go through like xenophobia ties. We are struggling with xenophobia ties.
Are we struggling because he has dual citizenship?
Not he
doesn't.
Because,
but you are using that as an example.
It could be the case, right? That somebody has dual citizenship. He, after completing his tenure in president in Ghana here, he flees away, go and stay in the state or any other country. When investigation is needed, he is covered by the laws of that country, and it becomes a problem to extradite the person. I feel like this recommendation for me, I feel like it's meant to serve the political elites, and also because of what happened to Jachikuisin, maybe perhaps they want to take off that. A lot of people are not too intrigued about this, but let's see how that goes. Next, in line with our recommendation in respect of the term of office of the president, the committee recommends an amendment to clause 1 and 2 of Article 113 to extend the term of parliament from 4 years to 5 years. So since the president was extended from 4 to 5, it's the same thing. Parliamentarians 4 to 5. The committee further recommends an amendment to Article 1124 to provide that the general election to elect members of parliament shall be held on the same day as presidential election. The committee recommends an amendment to Article 98 to provide that a member of parliament shall, and that's what we read in the earlier one. So basically saying that the election of the parliamentarian should happen concurrently with the election of the president, and they should all enjoy the same tenure of office, 5 years each for 1 term, but 2 terms and not more than that. Quickly, let's look at the last one. And the committee recommends an amendment to Article 63(2)(a) to provide that the election of the president shall be held on such date in the first week of the month of November in an election year as the electoral commission shall by constitutional instrument specified. So they say that as provided in our constitution says the election should be held on December 7th. The committee recommends that we should bring it to the first week of November, no specified date. It is the EC who will specify which day within the first week of November that election should be held. And I think this goes to the conversation before the 2024 election, where the Seventh-day Adventist Church, SDA, they were arguing that the election be taken from 7th December because it fell on their Sabbath day, Saturday. So their members were not going to participate, and by that they were going to the constitution was going to disenfranchise their members. So perhaps that's why the committee is bringing this backwards to the first week of November, and then the committee, the electoral commission, will determine which day within that first week the election should be held. Let's see how that goes. Now the committee recommends, and I think it also helps, because when you do that, it means that the transitional period becomes a bit elongated, because the transitional period starts from 3 days after 2 days after the election has been declared. That's where the transitional period starts, and we use just like less than a month or maximum less than a month to transition. If you bring it backwards, the transitional period will be elongated, and they can fashion out a lot of things. Now, the committee recommends amendment to Chapter 8 of the Constitution by introduction of a new provision to forbid or prevent the taking of certain specified actions by the president or a member of parliament, a member of his government or administration within the transition period commencing from the date of the presidential election to the date of the assumption of office of the next year. So this is where the transitional period also comes in, so that you are precluded from making decisions from the date the election is held to the day you transition. And some of the decisions we'll look at, you can't make decisions, which is for me very interesting and very good. For me, I second with this, because that's what happens with these employment. When the next government comes, they revoke the employment of people who are employed either after the election or some weeks to the election and all of that. I think that this safeguards a lot of things. Remember, under the first administration of Mahama, he made 2 appointments after he lost. He made an appointment into the Attorney General, Auditor General office. He appointed Domilevo. After he left, he lost the 2016 election. A question that the minority then raised concern. So they had to work with Domilevo, and they were not too intrigued about him. They find a way to
remove him.
Yeah. And then you saw he even signing what do you call it? An agreement for the mining of his diamond to what's the name?
Ibrahim
Mahama. That whole conversation around that. It's because the constitution had not limited him to making such decisions. He could make appointments into any office he likes. He could sign deals, sign agreement, employ people even after he lost election. I believe this is the right thing to. This government did the same thing. The previous government, the NPP also perpetuated same act after losing the 2024 elections. And I hope this is fully accepted. So let's quickly go because time is fast running out. So these are the things that the president is precluded, or the president or any member of any government after or from the date of the election is precluded to do. You are not eligible to appoint any person into any position, to represent or belong to a professional or business firm that represents a party and all of that. So let's quickly go because of time. Let's move to the next one because of time. Now, the committee recommends amendment of Article 223 to provide that the commissioner and each of the deputy commissioners of the electoral commission, this is in regard to the electoral commission, shall hold office for a single non-renewable term of 10 years or until he or she attains the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. A person who has held the office of the commissioner of deputy of the commissioner or deputy commissioner shall, upon retiring or resigning from the position, be ineligible for appointment to any other public office until a 3-year cooling off period. So they say that the EC should be appointed up for 10 years, non-renewable. You come, you serve you 10 years, you pack your bag and your luggage.
So now there's no,
and you go out.
Your time is coterminous with the appointing authority.
Unless within that period you commit a grave offense that will require a petition to be submitted for your removal and all of that. So after 10 years you pack your things and you leave. The next person comes in and all of that. Let's see how that goes. So quickly, now these are other things. Let's go back to the other one. The committee recommends an amendment to Article 236 to provide as follows. So let's look at what that so relates to the electoral commission. Let's look at the next one, what that follows means. Now the commissioner and deputy may be removed only on the grounds of willful violation of the law, dereliction of duty or abuse of power. A petition seeking, and it goes to outline how the petition seeking the removal should follow. Goes to the Council of State. The Council of State takes the processes all over to see the removal of the person, to see merit in the petitions and all of that. So let's quickly go. I want us to look at the Council of State, the reformed Council of State. Now, the committee believes that the case for retaining the Council of State remains strong. So they were asking the question: should we retain the office, scrap or reform? Now, the committee believes that the case for retaining the Council of State remains strong, so long as it is substantially restructured in purpose, that's the function, composition, impact, and transparency. In particular, a Council of State that returns to the role envisioned for it under the Constitution, the 1969 Constitution, as a co-guarantor of independence of certain constitutional bodies and offices, will make a significant contribution to our constitutional system of checks and balances. So they believe that we shouldn't scrap the Council of State.
Should reform it.
You should reform it. Remember that conversation that people were saying is
the way the election went.
Yes. People say no, let's scrap that office, let's scrap the council and all that. The committee says that it believes that we should rather reform rather than scrap. Now, the committee does not think there's a need to constitute the Council of State as a second chamber. However, the Council of State can also play a critical reviewer or second opinion role in legislative process. Right? So I think there was another suggestion that the Council of State become the second chamber in terms of Parliament, and they say no, we can't go with that. However, it can be a reviewer or a second opinion in terms of parliamentary legislative process. Let's look at the committee recommends appropriate amendment to Article 71, 72, 81, 190, 89, 190, and 91 to provide for expanded functions and mandate for the Council of State as follows. So they are in reforming, they are giving it much more stronger functions to perform. The Council shall recruit, vet, and make binding nominations to the President for the appointment of vacancies in the independent and hybrid independent constitutional and statutory office. So they are supposed to be vetting people into independent offices like the Electoral Commission, SHRAG, OSP, and all these independent bodies. And they say they are making their recommendation are binding not to accept their recommendation. Unlike before, the President can decide, I'll choose this one, I don't like this one, so let's go with this. For this Council of State, if it is accepted, the reformed one, whatever decision they make to the President becomes what? Binding. Right? Becomes binding. Just like the Chief Justice Removal Committee, when they make a recommendation to the President, it's binding. And then, so they are supposed to recruit, vet, and make all these nominations to the President. The committee recommends that the Council of State play no role in appointment to vacancies on the governing boards of state-owned enterprises and other statutory bodies, as it is proposed that the appointment to such a governing council shall be made by the President in accordance with the advice of a proposed constitutionalized figure. Remember, the Council of State was also they are in charge of making recommendation to governing boards, right? Board of maybe BOST, wine, all those boards, right?
Do you want to be on any of those boards?
Oh, I'm a journalist. Let me focus on my journalism work. Right. So the committee said they are taking those powers from the Council of State and giving it to a constitutionalized or SIGA. So they formed a SIGA, states institution that's supposed to state interest and governance authority that is going to now be responsible for those things, no more the Council of State. So the Council of State will be specifically responsible for this. Let's look at the last part, which is receive written petitions with sworn affidavit and the penalty of perjury for the removal of an identified independent constitutional office holder, and determine if petition on the face of it alleged facts and grounds are sufficient to warrant further investigation and action, and if so, set up an independent tribunal to investigate and make appropriate findings and recommendations to the Council for onward transmission to the President for obligatory action. So this is another function. When somebody from the office, an independent office, there are petitions for the removal of the person, it is the Council of State that is supervising that process, looking at the petition to see if it has merit to warrant the removal of that person. And they set up, if they have merit, they set up a committee or a tribunal to investigate those things and come out with a recommendation that is obligatory for the President to act on. So now, this is the Reformed Council of State. The other part that I think, because of time, we can look at is the formation of the council. Who and who forms the council? Before Christmas, that is just tomorrow. Maybe we can get some time during the morning show. The Council of State. Who and who forms the Council of State? Per the committee's review, let me just go through. Per the review, the Council of State is the President is supposed to now make only 3 appointments onto it. Okay. Unlike before, the President could make close to over 10 appointments onto the council of state. Only 3, and those 3, he has to appoint a past office holder, either a former president, a former chief justice, a former speaker of parliament has to be on it. Former president, former chief justice, former speaker of parliament has to be on that committee, on the council. Then a former member of parliament will also have to be represented. Then there are members of the business community, and then there is the regional reps, and then there's what do you call it, these people, the chieftaincy, regional house of chiefs will also have
National House of Chiefs.
Sorry, the National House of Chiefs will also have 1 rep on it. Then there are regional representatives, 1 each from the region. Like I mentioned, public sector unions and bodies are also represented there. So it is, if you look at the composition, it's a bit reformed and much more stringent, and you look at the composition, it's a bit more independent as
compared to what we have now,
where the president makes a lot of the appointment into that committee, into the council. And you know, if the president appoints the head and appoints much more numbers into the council, he virtually controls the council. But with this composition, with the new amendment or the proposed amendment, the composition would be much more independent than we have now. So now,
let's see what the implementation committee will also put together. This is quite interesting.
These are some excerpts from the HPC Prempers Constitutional Review Committee. We hope, or we live to see how it is being implemented, to see if it will be implemented and how the implementation process goes. Because of time, let me just end it here. Viewers, this has been my help to your presenter, ABENA MANTE.
Well, thank you for the help. We really enjoyed going through it. Hopefully we can get some time and go through some more, and very much appreciate it.
The conversation will not end here.
No, I don't think so.
After the festive season,
we'll come back to it. Yeah. Well, Sammy, thank you so much.
Okay.
Well, so that's our forefront story this morning on ABC in the morning. We'll take a break. When we return, now we'll have some conversations on the same matter. Don't go anywhere.
Magic pepper and onion, a delicious tomato mix with tomato, pepper and onion. No grinding, no blending. Ya yenina da da da. So pa mediane no abe.
Come on, Gino, do your magic.
And papa no kunu abefi.
Tasty magic.
Gino Magic Pepper and Onion. The magic that brings them home.
This advert is FDA approved.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, come and see what? Where this guy? My friend, see before.
It's the Telestar Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telestar Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telestar Play app to obtain and start winning in the Telestar Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is happening? If you're a baby, many scared no. If you know, meto chiaka. Inti ene, uno ba no mpe baby amobeda. Oh no abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Playing for your country, enye easy. Scoring, enye easy. Winning, enye easy. You know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. I easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kibo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore.
This advert is FDA approved.
This week's been wild. New releases dropping, artists blowing up, moments going crazy on the timeline. Don't worry, we've got you.
We put the highlights, the date, the event, everything you need to know, and then the real fun starts.
The official top 10 songs running the streets, the airwaves, and your playlists.
If the culture is talking about it, we are counting it down.
This is the rundown.
Hey, so mommy, who is going to do my weekday jollof?
Oh, Kwame. You know our secret, right?
Yeah.
Efia.
Yes, me. I've got it.
Now add your Chino Jollof mix.
The perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time. And there you have it, your original Ghana jollof.
Jollof so cool.
Jollof so cool. Tasty nye.
What is going on here?
Enjoy jollof the Ghana way. Gino jollof is made with the perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time.
This advert is FDA approved.
Imagine a sport without rules, a game without passion, an arena without chance. What drives the champions? What fuels the rivalry? What separates the winners from the rest in the world of sports?
Eugene Soti, your chief data guy on the Talking Point. On the African Tracker, I'll break down the performance of your favorite African players abroad, scrutinizing every detail and exploring the nuances and rules governing the game.
Meet us in your area for Area Take as we plug into sports perspective and hear your thoughts on every play of the game.
I'm James Makion, your go-to expert for everything local. I'll review the fixtures from the locker room to the pitch and from the management to the fans. I've got you covered.
Oh la la! Don't miss out on the double excitement. It's a fun pack, pulsating and complete wrap of everything in sports, from boxing to football, tennis, NBA and more. Sports World on ABC as every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Sports World on ABC. Sports beyond borders.
Welcome back. You're still watching ABC in the morning. You're streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, ABC News GH. You can catch the show there even if you're stepping out of home. It's time for our conversation, and we are still dwelling on the Constitution Review Committee's report that they submitted to President John Dramani Mahama yesterday. Beg your pardon. And then we will later also look at the AG's accountability series, where he threw some more light on some cases involving the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the NPP, Bernard Njubu-Esiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, and also former flag bearer for the LPG, Kofi Akpalu. These are the conversations we'll be having. We'll be joined by Alexander Kwesiakwa, who is the MP for Achimda, Dr. Samuel Efie, a political scientist at the Kumasi Technical University, and also Rashid Tanko Computer, Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC and CEO for GIFEC. These are the resource persons we will be speaking with today on the show. But even before we have the conversation, let you listen a little bit to the AG's accountability series and then refresh our brains before we even start having any conversations.
Ghana Limited conducted an internal investigations and corroborated the fraud allegations that we have made, concluding that Apollo knowingly misrepresented ownership of the checks and deposited them into the wrong account. The bank acknowledged operational failures in detecting the discrepancies between the check payee names and the account numbers. The suspects who have been investigated are Percival Kofi Akpalu, Poma Ghana Limited, the Poma with the H, and Delvin Akpalu, his wife. That is the spouse of Kofi Akpalu. It's fast becoming fashionable to commit crimes with spouses these days. The evidence shows that they engage in various criminal offenses, including stealing, forgery, and money laundering. And they will be charged by my office, again, as I said, upon resumption of work after the... On March 18, 2018, Chairman Wontumi submitted a receipt from a company known as Kasama Enterprise for the purchase of the equipment in the sum of 4 million Ghana cedis. However, the equipment purchase as shown on the receipt included bulldozers and excavators. Our investigations established that Chairman Wontumi had approached Kasama Enterprise, an industrial equipment dealer, and obtained an invoice with a promise to return to purchase the said equipment. He never went back to purchase the equipment. Instead, and this is where the criminal enterprise began, he forged the invoice he obtained from Kasama Enterprise by removing the word invoice and replacing it with receipt. This forged receipt was then submitted to Exim Bank as proof that he had purchased the equipment after the disbursement of the loan facility. The owner of Kasama Enterprise confirmed to investigators of the Economic and Organized Crime Office that the only document he issued to Wontumi Farms Limited through Chairman Wontumi was a pro forma invoice and not a receipt. He stated that after he issued the invoice, he never heard from Chairman Wontumi again, despite repeated follow-up calls. The forged receipt submitted to Exim Bank suggested that Kasama Enterprise acknowledged receipt of the sum of 4 million Ghana cedis for the purchase of earth-moving machines and farming equipment. The so-called receipt had on it, and ladies and gentlemen of the press, this is what gave him away, 50 days to supply and 1 year guarantee and service. On March 18, 2018, Chairman Wontumi submitted a receipt from a company known as Kasama Enterprise for the purchase of the equipment in the sum of 4 million Ghana cedis. However, the equipment purchase as shown on the receipt included bulldozers and excavators. Our investigations established that Chairman Wontumi had approached Kasama Enterprise, an industrial equipment dealer, and obtained an invoice with a promise to return to purchase the said equipment. He never went back to purchase the equipment. Instead, and this is where the criminal enterprise began, he forged the invoice he obtained from Kasama Enterprise by removing the word invoice and replacing it with...
Also, that is the AG yesterday at the Government Accountability Series. We'll get to that conversation very soon, but we'll begin with the Constitution Review Committee's report as presented to President John Dramani Mahama. Joining us at the moment is MP for Achimda, Honorable Alexander Kwesiakwa. Good morning, sir. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And Merry Christmas in advance to you.
Well, same to you.
Okay. Well, the Constitution Review Committee's work finally has ended. We had all been waiting to hear what it had for us regarding our Constitution. Now, it's presented its report, but one thing stands out. They've shut the door to the third term conversation that has been raging, and also are proposing that instead of the 4-year mandate, we should give each president a 5-year mandate. How do you receive these?
Well, good morning to you and your viewers. It's a pleasure to be with you once again to have discussion of a national interest. The CLC has done its work. I have confidence in the chairperson and the other members, and I was so sure that at the end of the day, they are going to come up with a report that was going to generate such a national interest. Because you see, our constitution has grown to a point where definitely, as a living organism, we needed to do some changes to it. And so we've gone past that stage where we want to belabor the point whether we needed this review or not, because a lot of things have gone on. We in the NPP have had to go to the Supreme Court to test a number of issues with regards to even our parliamentary standing orders and all that. And so it was important we do a holistic review of the main documents that guides our governance system in this country. Now, to the substantial point of the shutting the door to the third term discussion that had erupted and everybody's talking about it, I want to look at it that why 5 years? Why 5 years? 4 years is a mandate given to any president to be able to push his developmental agenda. And so if we think that we need to give them 5 years, we need to justify why we need to give them 5 years, because that 1 year period is nothing to write home about. If you have your set of agenda and you present it to the people and the people readily accept it, one wonders why you would need an additional year to be able to fulfill some of the things you have promised.
The chairperson for the committee makes the argument that we spend a lot of time organizing government in the first year, and after that we most definitely spend the last year also doing campaign activities towards the next election. And so real governance is just contained within 2 to 2.5 years.
You see, well, the other aspect that they are calling for a review, and let's say non-members of parliament are those who are eligible to become ministers of state. If we are to go by all that, it becomes easier for us to still have governance in about 4 years.
Okay.
Because then it takes away, before somebody comes into government, he knows who is going to place in a particular ministry. It's not just going to be about the fact that the constitution is demanding that more than 70% or a quantum of your ministers must come from parliament. And so you want to look at those who go through elections and then you select the best ones. This one, if we accept that MPs are those who are eligible to become ministers, which is something that I will vote for. I will vote for, because then it doesn't make any MP less of nature than the other. As it is now, ministers, MPs who are ministers are regarded as more of an MP than even your colleague MP, because you control the government purse. So I will go for the fact that ministers must be people who are coming outside parliament, so that MPs can be allowed to build their parliamentary career. So if that is accepted, then you do not need to waste too much time in deciding who comes into your government. Because as you're campaigning, you know who is going to be your Minister of Finance, you know the various ministers who are going to occupy the various portfolios. So there are some of the things that if we're able to accept and work on, we would shorten the time that we use in organizing these things, and then it becomes easier for us to have governance, real governance, within a time frame of 3 to 4 years, like the constitution as we have now stipulates.
Okay, so for you, 5 years is a non-starter.
I don't go for it.
Now let's look at this part where you brought in earlier this morning. Myself and a producer were going through the committee's reports for our viewers, and we're looking at that portion where it says that if you're an MP, you can't become a minister. Even if you resigned, you still could not become a minister. Is this not going to unsettle the various political parties, this provision?
No, I earlier stated that there are people who are well cut out to do parliamentary business. When they go to parliament, even though we have 275 MPs, there are a lot of people who do not, as of now, even know some parliamentary practices, because there are people who have decided to build themselves as parliamentary careers. There are people who go to parliament because of the provision in the constitution that allows the president to, that mandates the president to pick his ministers from parliament. And so some people will come into parliament just because they want to become ministers. And that is why you always have a struggle between government appointees and MPs. Because the president is an appointee, he controls government purse, and so has a lot of resources to unsettle you, the MP, just because he wants to come into become a minister of state. And so if it is well cut out, if you're a minister, you're a minister, you're not coming into parliament. If you're an MP, you are an MP. That alone also emphasizes the tenet of democracy like we know. The rule of law, checks and balances system, and then parliament is able to oversight the executive properly.
Okay. Well, Honorable, let me just welcome Dr. Samuel Ifri into the conversation, and I'll come back to you before I move to Doc for his comments. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you, Abena.
And Merry Christmas in advance to you, sir.
Yes, I also wish you and all your team.
Thank you so much.
Team.
Doc,
Best wishes.
I'll quickly come to you and then we'll begin the conversation by picking your thoughts. But let me let Honorable Akwesi Akwa land. Honorable, you have had the opportunity to be both MP and Deputy Minister. Would you say that combining those two portfolios did not help you to better serve the people? Or did the MPship also not help you to better be a Deputy Minister?
Well, let me put it this way. I was a deputy minister for a short while.
Okay.
But I can tell you, I was able to take along some development projects to my constituency that if I were just an ordinary MP, I wouldn't have been able to do. And so my constituents benefited from my deputy ministerial position. Now, at that time, I can count the number of times I went into parliament. Because as Deputy Minister for Health, you are supporting your boss. Your boss was also a candidate. And if you know health so much, you have a lot of engagement within country, outside country, and the sub-region, internationally, and all that. So we're traveling from one country to the other, attending conferences and making sure we're part of a global health communication system. And so it would definitely take you away from parliament. And so I would say that within that period, if I served my people better, it was because as a deputy minister I had control over certain resources, and so I skewed them to the advantage of my people. But otherwise, I think if I were just the ordinary MP, in the last days of our administration, there are a lot of things that I really would love to have been part of, because I had time. But if you are traveling and you are always engaged in one meeting or the other, it will take away that time.
But in any case, you just said that your constituents enjoyed certain things because you were deputy minister. This means that if this provision that the review committee is expecting or is recommending is really enforced or is accepted, it means that for some constituents, they're not going to enjoy the things that they're able to enjoy because their MPs are ministers.
You see, when we accept this one, then we all come to accept the fact that the 275 of us or the 276 of us are just MPs. We do not have control over any government resource. And so all we are supposed to do is to legislate, is to make laws, is to pick up their views. Now, when I go to my constituents and I tell them, we are working on this law, can you tell me on what you think about this bill that we are working on in Parliament? They will slam the door at me because that's not what they are looking for. What they are looking for is you coming to bring them physical infrastructure projects, because they think that as an MP, you should be able to lobby. Your other colleagues who are ministers are doing it, they see it. But you see, if all of us are non-ministers and we are MPs, then we'll let them know that our role is to make laws. Our role is to enact laws. And so we won't have that pressure and that demand on us. And then MPship will be less competitive because people will not think about the fact that what I need to do is to follow the president campaign so well and appeal to the president so that my position is assured. I don't need to be in parliament before I'm appointed as a minister. And so a lot of MPs, because you see how many ministers do we have now? Close to about 60. And the NDC has close to about 180, over 180 MPs. The remaining MPs, how do they also convince their people? I know a lot of NDC MPs who are complaining because their neighbors were made ministers and they don't have the privilege of having a ministerial position. And their neighbors are taking development projects to their constituencies. Because by and large, we are MPs in the first place before we become ministers. And so if you have a colleague MP who has a ministry and therefore has control over resources and is using the resources to champion the cause of his people, he is putting you into trouble. So, like somebody will say, I mean, all of us are MPs and nothing more, nothing less.
Interesting perspectives coming from you, because there was the argument that for those of you in Parliament, you are really going to kick against this because it takes away development from you, it takes away some positions from you. So, very interesting coming from you as you have been able to serve in both portfolios. I'll come back to you, sir. Doc, let me come to you. The review committee has submitted its report. When you look at it, 5 years for president instead of 4 years, and shutting down the whole conversation about third term. And also, if you want to be an MP, you cannot be a minister. If you want to be a minister, you cannot be an MP. How does this report look like to you, sir? Hello, Dr. Friye. Hello, sir. Yes, sir. Did you get my question?
Sorry, I was not.
That's fine. I was asking that when you look at this report submitted by the Constitution Review Committee, talking about a 5-year presidential term instead of the regular 4 years we know, also shutting down the conversation about a third term for any president, and also saying that if you're an MP, you cannot be a minister, and if you're a minister, you cannot be an MP. When you look at this, and also capping the number of MPs to 275, when you look at this entire report, what does it mean to you? How does it look like?
Well, thank you very much. How many times have we been coming up with a committee of on the Constitution to review some aspect, and at the end of the day, you see that there will be a white paper, and it's not.
This is the third time, Doc.
Exactly. Yes, and these politicians will tend to have these committees, and when it does not favor them, then they will implement some of these reviews that is being done by this committee. But I believe that these committees, some of the key issues will be looked at and the government will tend to let the people of Ghana to know so that we all get on board. Sometimes, if we are on board, and I think the president has also done well by saying that the report should be sent out to the public. That is, all of us need to have access to it so that we all look at how we can all have understanding of the review. Sometimes you may not have all these, and this document will be for some selected few, and which doesn't speak well of how all of us will get on board to have these understanding of some of aspects of governance. But first and foremost, when you look at the term of the president, I think, well, we have not been in government before, we have not been president before, and so we might not have an in-depth understanding about how governance is being run. There is a change over that is from government to another government, how to set government machinery in place, how to make sure that things are run. So I think based on previous presidents, especially President Kufuor, who has made some suggestions about some aspect of increasing the term of the president from that is the 4 years, because based on what they have been telling us, it presupposes that actually they have about maybe 3 years to be in at least to be inactive, and even that you have 1 year, because the first year you used to set your government in place, and then the last year for your term you set an motion for governance, that is campaigning. So you see that actually you may have about 2.5 or at least 2 years of proper governance, that you may have a kind of concentration towards your policy or your manifesto. And that is what has been. So for me, I think 5 years will be okay for a term, so that at maximum you have 5, that is 10. I think that will be quite good for. And I think the suggestions that came was that it's only Ghana and Nigeria that is having these 4 year term, others are having 5 and 7 respectively. So I believe that as we are growing and we are trying to in terms of our governance system, if there's things that we need to improve, we have to work on it and then make sure that we get on board. I'm also very, very happy that the committee was suggesting or recommendation that presidents should pay taxes. It's very, very good suggestions that the committee has made, because we are all citizens and we need to pay our taxes no matter how much. So when it comes to president and president does not pay taxes, then it means that actually he is not a citizen of this country. But being the leader, if you pay taxes on what we have been giving to you, I think that is a very good step, and this one, it has to be immediately be implemented from this. That is, this government has to start to implement some of these recommendations about these government, that is MPs, also playing the role as ministers, and if you resign, you cannot be a minister, and those kind of issues. For me, for the separation of government powers principle that we learn in our schools, where governance, we have the legislature, we have the executive, because when it happens that most of these MPs are selected, ministers are selected from parliament, you see that there's that kind of conflict. And it has become even a competitive tool within MPs to always catch the eye of the president to have even their minister. And you see all of them regional ministers, all of them deputy ministers, all of them ministers. And that is something that we might not give credence to what the lawmaking activity. So if you want to be a lawmaker, you go in as a lawmaker. If you want to become an executive, then you go in. So that one, for me, and also based on our governance system that we have practiced so far, when we bring that separation, when we bring that kind of distinction, I think it can also help us in a way because it makes a lot of conflict issues here and there about how ministers, and even some people have even that is the MPs see that when you are being given such roles, it even place you more value than the other MPs, you being a minister and be an MP. So if that can be decoupled, so that if you're a lawmaker, you are going for elections, you're going for a lawmaker, you become a lawmaker. If you want to become an executive, then you go in for an executive role and then you do your work. So I think mostly the constitutional review of Professor Prempe, led by Professor Prempe. I think there are some good things that we can use to implement. But I hope and pray that maybe the current government will not see it as a way when even how to implement, when to start or to implement is also an issue. So it's a very good report so far. What I've glanced myself into the report.
Okay.
But I think when to start and how these things can be done, we were all hoping for the best.
Well, Doc, the report also says that we should cap the number of ministers the president can appoint to 57. Is this a good enough number? He says the report says that if cabinet's numbers cannot go beyond 19, and so if we triple the 19, that is 57, and that is where we should stay when it comes to the number of ministers.
Well, ABENA, I think as we are growing as a country, we can even reduce cabinet positions so that it can also reduce the ministers. You see, we set the rules for ourselves, and if you think that the way we have come out with the cabinet positions, if there's a need for us to make some changes in terms of our cabinet composition, we're fine, we can do that. But so far, if we have no intention and we still want to maintain that, then, well, okay, I will agree that it goes in line. But we should have a way, where I think in China, you have some few people ruling the country. They have about 12 that rules the country in terms of, so when for us, some might say that we are a developing country, we need people to be here and there, but I think we should have an intention of trying to reduce the numbers. So if they have made that number to be 67, fine. That should be maximum. Does not mean that we have to reach that, but we can work on maybe 50, 40, or any figure that can make it workable. That can also be a competitive nature for our leaders or our presidents.
Okay. Well, Honorable Akwesi Akwa, what do you make of this number, capping the number of ministers at 57? Is that enough to run our country?
Yes, I think that is enough, especially if they were able to accept the fact that we have to decouple members of parliament from the list of ministers. But most presidents are always forced to increase the number because there are people in the various regions who have made it to parliament that they need to satisfy. The constitution also calls for regional balance. And so sometimes after penciling certain people, you go here, you go there, realize that some regions may have been disadvantaged, and that makes it easier for the president to increase. And so if there's a cap, then you know that if you have satisfied the 16 regions, with, let's say 2 people from each region, you have done 32. And then perhaps you look at your strongholds, and then you add some to it. Then everybody would understand. It doesn't become an issue for you to explain that much to your party folks, as in why you haven't included my personality or my MP in the ministerial list. And so it becomes easier for the president to choose the best among the many people available.
Let's take a look at the Council of State. This year's election onto the Council of State, it was a very interesting one. We really saw the party colors aspect of a Council of State, for which many people suggested that this is literally a rubber stamp Council of State. It does not add anything to our governance. Many had called for the scrapping of it, but this Constitution Review Committee still finds merit in it. Says that we need the Council of State, and so we should reform it. And in reforming, it has given some guidelines for which the Council of State can be reformed. The president has only about 3 persons he can appoint onto it. When you look at this new structure, would it help us? and look at the way it takes a lot of powers from the president now, invest it into the Council of State so that the Council of State becomes very strong, appoints, oversees, has some oversight responsibility. Are we in the right direction, or you would agree with those who still are calling for the scrapping of it?
Well, I think that the Council of State, as they are formed in recent times, is almost about outliving its usefulness. If you look at the real sense behind the formation of the Council of State, we are looking at very achieved people, very not too old people, but people who have gone through the mill and have experience, so that they can be advising the president. Now, it has become a route for which some people who couldn't make it to parliament decide to now work just like any other ordinary politician and get there. Now, if you look at the composition of Council of State members, majority of them are politicians. Meanwhile, they were supposed to live above politics and be advisors to the president. So in the reformation of the Council of State, we have to bring some age limits so that we can attract the people who have had experience. And is the reason the president has authority to appoint a former Chief Justice, a former IGP, a former CDS. These are positions that have been held by very accomplished people. And so if the Constitution enjoins the president to appoint people from these positions, it means that they are coming in to advise the president with their experience, with their background. So it just doesn't become like any other person who has money to influence the vote. Do you know how many minors we have in the current Council of State membership? And if we have very young minors who have been able to make it to the Council of State, you want to ask, how would they advise the president on issues of galamsey? So I thought that the age limit should be one of the things that should have been brought into the qualification of who becomes a Council of State member. I mean, the president has the right to choose one from each region. And then people will also have to go for election from each region. So it was actually a balanced system where the president's choice as against the people's choice. You all meet, converge at one point, and then you think about how to advise the president. But as it is now, I think we need reformation. But it has to come with some age limit. If we leave it for elections, and we do not place age limit on them, I'm sure you know the sort of people who we can find in the Council of State. If somebody like Abu Trika decides to go for a Council of State somewhere, who can beat him? So you have him in the Council of State.
But when you talk about age limit, what will be the age you would be looking at? 65, 60?
Well, I think that if we look at 60, just like we have for the appointment of the CDS, the IGP and all that, these are people who have achieved a lot and they have accomplished in their various positions. So if you appoint them, nobody has issues with them because they are coming with that kind of position, with that kind of background to advise the president.
Well, since we are on the matter of age, the committee is recommending that 40 years be revised to 30 with regards to those who would like to run for president.
I am surprised. I've always thought that the 40 is even too low.
It is?
The president of the land. The president of the land.
Okay.
Sometimes people argue against the age limits. But you see, it is not for nothing that is being said that there is wisdom in the gray hair. At least, having lived quite longer on this earth will give you the opportunity to have experienced some level of life that if you bring to bear, it will help you in the development of the nation. But if you think that it should just be low as the age 30 years. I wonder what anybody would have been able to achieve in life after about 30 years to be able to govern a state. I have my doubts.
But you don't govern a state alone. You have ministers. You have the Council of State. You're saying that we should have Council of State at a certain age limit. And so, if there's a 30-year-old person who has this council behind them, won't they be able to work actively? There may be wisdom indeed in the grey hair, but there are also some young people who are able to do a lot. Young people who are ambitious. Young people who have the mental fortitude. Don't you think?
You see, yes, you don't govern alone, but as a president, the buck stops with you. And so, a lot of times, you are not going to respond to just counsels given to you. You also want to be sure of how you are advised and live by the kind of advice that they have given unto you. I think 30 years is way below the bar.
If a 30-year-old can get married, raise a family, a business, we have some 30-year-olds who are CEOs. Till they can't be president.
You know who a president is? Commander-in-Chief of the armed forces. Somebody who has the power to declare a state of emergency. The kind of power we've given to our president is such that if you don't have somebody who is so mature, if you don't have somebody who is mentally stable, if you don't have somebody who has gone through the mill, that person can just plunge the country into some chaos. I think the age limit should be looked at.
Okay.
The conversations are in their early days yet, but I can tell you, a lot of people will come up. Even though we are in the Gen Z days, and so you have a lot of the youth who would push for this because they think that this is something that is coming for them. But I think that we need to speak about it.
Okay. Well, Dr. Free, let me pick your thoughts on this age limit that has been reduced as recommended by the committee from 40 to 30 years.
I agree 100% with Honorable Akwa on the age limit, that being a president is not being a bushapeni of a certain family, Being the president is where you lead 16 regions, different tribes, different background, different experiences, different caliber of people. So you need a certain level of an experience, or even a certain level of maturity, a certain level of emotional stability to able to handle all these things. And as Honorable Akwa said, when it comes to the security, you talk about the military, we talk about the Air Force, and when some strategic decisions, yes, you may have some kind of people to support you at the end of the day, but you are the one that will make such decisions. So I think that I disagree 100% with the age limit from 40 to 30. No, we can't place our country into that kind of level, because in every kind of position there should be an element of an experience. There should be some element or a certain level of maturity so that you can handle. And here we are talking about a country.
Doc, are you saying that a 30-year-old is not mature enough to be president?
You see, when we talk about maturity here, we are not talking about the age as you may try to suggest, but at the end of the day, 30 years, I don't know the kind of mill that you have gone through to able to churn out whatever that you want to do. You even gave an example of marriage. That's what I'm saying, that country is not about marriage. Country is not about managing a small business or maybe a business that you think that you can manage. There are certain things that we need, certain things that we talk about. We talk about maturity in your decisions, maturity in your discernment, maturity in the way you handle people. It's not everybody that can handle people with differences. It's not everybody that can handle your temperament and other things. you know, and that is what we are looking at.
But we've seen older presidents who have also handled themselves in also, is it that it is the preserve of the old, in this case above 30 or 40 years and above, to make mistakes?
Yes, is it a theory of old and dark? Here we are talking about age. We are not talking about old age, you know. And leading a country, you cannot place a country in people that have not gone through some life experiences. That's what we are looking at.
What kind of life experience, Doc?
Life experience is where you have managed something, right? You've gone through some kind of experience. You've gone through, life is up and downs, right? So when we say that, somebody will say, oh, I've managed this, so I can manage a country. Do you know how governance is? You have to go through a certain system of understanding of our governance system. You have to go through a certain kind of the mindset. You know, I'm not the value maybe someone who is not up to that can lead a country. No, not at all. And even research will prove to you that all those young ones that have been leaders, they have something that they were not able to achieve a lot because they lack certain experience. So you come in, you need to have some basic experience for you to lead all these kind of people in this country. You know, we have different tribes, different kind of people, chiefs, stakeholders, military officers, medical officers. So you cannot just come out, even when you've completed school, I think an average is about 25 years now, you know, 25 years now. So currently, I think an average person who finished university is around 20, 23, or maybe 25. And 5 years time, you say you want to lead a country, fine. Yeah, life is not about even leading a country. Is not only about even going to school as such. You need to experience life, at least some life aspects that you can go through, so that you can experience. See, one aspect about these Muslims about their fasting, as a friend of mine told me that you know, the way they fast is to let people experience hunger, so that when somebody says that is hungry and need food, you understand, you appreciate, you know. So there are certain life aspects that we need to go through before you can lead a different kind of people.
Okay.
This is not your Busiapeni clan, and even that you have issues. So the level that we want to go into this kind of theory, I believe that 40, because in our constitution, I think the youth age ends up to 35.
Okay.
35 years. So 5 years in addition won't be bad.
Okay.
Well, not in our part of the world, if you are not careful, anybody will take a gun and take something and come in and say that he wants to be a president.
Right.
We should not bring some of these foreign kind of age into our system. Our part of the world, we have to be very careful.
Okay. Well, I want us to look at the last conversation here before moving to the Wontumi case, because our time is almost up. Let's look at the time or the term for the EC boss. In the report, it says that we should give the EC boss 10 years to complete their work before they exit.
10 years. You know, I think we need a holistic view towards our state institutions.
Okay.
So can police system also have that? Can we also have the military or the security agencies also going into that? Can we also have SHRAJ and those state institutions that we might see them as independent go into this direction? Yes, there should be a way out for some of these things to be looked at, so that it will not be only EC. If we're supposed to be security or whatever aspect, we have to look at all those state institutions that we classified as independent, and how their term of office and how we can handle some of these things. We should not only pick or identify EC as a critical institution where we can tag them with years. Well, it can be justifiable, but at the end of the day, what about the other state institutions that we are looking at? We should not be seen, because now the way things are going, whether you change your EC, any government that comes to power change the EC and change the Chief Justice, is that tradition that we want to go? If we want to do something better, we should look at it and make, because if it comes in this direction, then it means that our state institutions that we thought to be independent are not. That is why we are giving them some of these kind of term of office. Then if not being the case, then we should also go to the judiciary and give them some terms as well. Yeah.
Right. Honorable Akwesiakwa, let me pick your thoughts on this 10-year duration that the committee gives to the EC, suggests that we give. Oh, we have lost Honorable Akwesiakwa on the line. Hopefully we can establish contact with him before we end the conversation. Doc, but let me quickly pick your thoughts on the AG. He talks about prosecuting Wontumi Farms over 24 million Ghana cedis alleged Exim Bank loan fraud. Yesterday at the Government Accountability Series, he some information on Chairman Wontumi, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of PP. He talks about forgery and causing financial loss to the state. He also talks about Kofi Akpalu and Sam and his wife money laundering. He places emphasis on the fact that it looks like now when it comes to crime, it is husbands and wives who are in cahoots doing all of these. Yesterday's presser, some felt it was needless. Some felt the AG was going after things that really he did not need to look at, because these are smaller fishes to fry when you look at the quantum of the monies he's talking about and the weight of the conversation. But really, isn't the AG only doing his work and trying to bring some sanity within our space when we talk about corruption?
But I'm sorry that the AG is failing this country, or even failing the government or the NDC, because he seems to be appeasing to the media and trying to let the media judge people with this kind of information. All the statements and the things that he comes, I think he's one of the most a minister that has been coming up with press conferences and press or whatever, and I think it's needless. It's totally needless and unacceptable for him to do that. An attorney general are supposed to present your cases to court and brief. I will not be surprised that even you will come out with a press conference for Christmas. He is failing the government, and he has to be told that what he's doing, he is not helping the government of the day. Or whether you're using we talk about the public sentiment against the judiciary. So if there's a forgery, if all these things, what does it concern me? What is it? Do I have the right to send a person to court? You have investigated, send them and just come up with just even a statement. Not even coming to talk and explain into details here and there. No. You can just say that these 3 or these 4 people have been accused of these and this is alleged or whatever. A press release. Last week you were there. Today you've come. Just making things as if that you are the judge. And if you send it to court, this is how OSP did his work. Always been in the media, social media, and trying to appease, to have public sentiment, and look at what he has brought to this country. That OSP is not being seen as one of the critical institutions, and here and there. But an attorney general that will believe that you are the government lawyer, that will believe that you do a diligent, today you are on press, the next day you are on press, talking and even giving, if it is fraud. And so what? What should we do? You are sending the person to let the court judge the person. You have investigated, and these are the allegations. So coming to tell us, what should we do? And always accusing people wrongly. that Oforiata, every day Oforiata, every day Oforiata, every day Oforiata, as if that Ghana's solutions depends on Oforiata. Because of the way they present some of these things, you see, and then it just captures the media space. People will be talking about it here and there, and then unnecessarily, at the end of the day, you are not the one to bring the person. You can send the person to court, and the person can be handled without even the person not being here. He coming in and doing press conferences, accusing him of as if that if care is not taken, he will be one of those people that will come and accuse, like the MPP did, that doing that everything is Ukraine war and that kind of thing. Everything is about Oforiata. Everything is about Wuntumi. Everything now. I don't know whether they have any new case. If he is doing, because now all the oral issues that he was talking about, I don't know whether he has finished. He has not finished. You will not come up and talk about Wuntumi issue. Wuntumi has done this. Wuntumi has done this. You have sent the person to court, a forgery. You are an attorney general, investigative have identified that is a forgery. So you are doing a press conference to tell me that it's a forgery. And so what should I do? I am a judge. I think the AG is not doing, and I think is working below. All the ministers, I learned that the best minister is an agric minister based on someone's report. Why not him? Always in the media, trying to let people or former government officials know that they are being sent to court and that kind of thing. Briefing. Even when he's doing the presentation, you see that more details are being revealed. People use money to buy bags like Hannon's baseball and whatever storage CEO. And he's talking about they buy bags, they buy this. How can you reduce an attorney general of this country to this level? So I think that the AG is going beyond what is expected, and he should rather go to court and fight for whatever is for the country, and stop coming to the media to explain to you. We have nothing to do with all this info. All these are propaganda and trying to create public sentiment towards the judges. And it's a very bad practice that if your care is not taken, you create an impression that these people are being judged now by the public space. So when you send it to court and the court give a different judgment, are you going to sing like OSP was singing that Ankonam Akamenkwan? Let's be serious this time with the Attorney General. He should be serious.
Okay.
He should not waste our space with all those explanations. If you find people cooperate about certain things, a certain allegation, send them to court. Let the judge deal with them, rather than trying to come in and give press conferences, everyday press conferences, without even and then creating some kind of bad sentiment towards these people. Okay. Of which you are not the judge.
All right. Thank you, Doc. Thank you so much for weighing in on this matter this morning. We are grateful that you joined us. Honorable Alexander Kwesi-Akwa is back. Let me also pick his final thought and we'll be done with the conversation. Honorable Kwesi-Akwa, yesterday, Government Accountability Series, AG has spoken. He's given us some information on Chairman Wuntumi and Kofi Akpaloo. Chairman Wuntumi is a chairman of the Ashanti region, your stronghold in the NPP, and he says that fraud causing financial loss to the state. I mean, as a party, you are a member of your party too. How are you feeling with this?
I first of all want to share in the frustration of Dr. Kwi. I can see he's so frustrated. Rightly so. The AG is somebody that I have known in private life. Before he got into Parliament, I knew him, he knew me. When I went to meet him in Parliament, I mean, obviously, he's one of the people that I respect so much because he is a very good lawyer. He is a brainy guy when it comes to the law. And so this is what politics does to you. Sometimes you get into a position and you are forced to behave like in a certain way that would attract people's condemnation on you. I mean, as against who you really are. The AG that I know that if it had not been the fact that this government wants to occupy the public space with this kind of allegations and condemnations of former public officers, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing. But you see, the country has gotten to a point where government has nothing to show. And as the people get frustrated, government itself is frustrated and it wants to fill in the gap with some of the issues that perhaps will get people so angry at the former government officials. You know, it was their style of campaigning. That's what they campaign. And it's not just them. Most people in government in African countries will always use corruption as one of the things that will oust a government. And so, yes, they did that. But as they came into office, they realized that it is not just easy, I mean, to come and prosecute everybody that had been described as a very corrupt person. Now, you should ask, how come when they came, the cases that were on trial, they did not finish, and they just filed to discharge all the cases? This is something that has been described as a blot on our judicial system. You know, so the AG is being pushed by the government communication machinery to fill the airspace with some of these allegations. There are a few points that I want to bring into the attention of Ghanaians in general. You see, he says he's announcing the conclusion of investigations. It took a media person to inquire about Joseph Yami and Abange's case with Yoko, because charity begins at home. So if these two individuals have also been referred to Yoko, and you haven't come out to come and talk to Ghanaians about theirs, why would you always be talking about, like you said, if it is not Shamawu to me, it is this and it is that? Ghanaians are beginning to be fed up with these things. If you have a case, nobody say, when you have finished investigation, when you conclude the investigation, you take it to court. You don't come to the media to come and announce that you finished investigation. No, you take it to court. The courts, thankfully, have court reporters, so they will report every proceeding from the courts. You know, so rightly so, they just want to fill the space with some of these things. And he seems to be the victim, because now there's nothing really happening in the various ministries. Ghanaians are becoming frustrated, Ghanaians are becoming impatient, and so what they think they can do is to go back to their campaign mood, the things they said during the campaign. But if you look at when we're debating the budget, they were just on a campaign mood, going back on how we couldn't manage the country very well. But it's the reason Ghanaians voted us out, if really we did it. And so once you are in, you are supposed to do better. Give Ghanaians the hope and go beyond the hope and start performing. And so we need to see. There are a lot of things that are not going well, especially when it comes to the governance of this nation. And the AG is a victim. He's just a victim.
He is a victim. Okay, Honorable Akwesi Akwa, thank you so much for your time this morning. Dr. Friye, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully we can have some more conversation. We know we are going into the festive season, but we look forward to speaking the more so that we deliberate more matters. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
And do enjoy your day. Honorable Alexander Kwesi Akwa is the MP for Achinda. Dr. Samuel Efree is a political scientist at the Kumasi Technical University. That's all for our main discussion this morning. Right after this break, we'll open the phone line so that you can call and share your thoughts with us. 053-916-1609.
Rent back with the Pia Upa. Come on, come see what? Where this guy? My friend, see before.
It's the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telecel Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telecel Play app to opt in and start winning in the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto chiaka. Inti ene, uno ba no mpe baby amobeda. Oh no abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Hey, so mommy, who is going to do my weekday jollof?
Oh, Kwame. You know our secret, right?
Yeah.
Efia.
Yes, me. I've got it.
Now add your Chino Jollof mix.
The perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time. And there you have it, your original Ghana jollof.
Jollof so good.
Jollof so good. Tasty nye.
What is going on here?
Enjoy jollof the Ghana way. Gino jollof is made with the perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time.
This advert is FDA approved.
It's time for Ghana Speaks, where we want to hear your voices, your voice alone that matters. Call us on 0539161609 so that we can hear you and appreciate what you two have to say. The Constitution Review Committee has released this report. Says 5 years instead of 4 years for presidents, no third term. The Constitution does not guarantee that. There's nothing in the Constitution that speaks about a third term, and so many other things. If you're an MP, you cannot be a minister. If you're a minister, you cannot be an MP. Says EC, a 10-year window to operate. Share your thoughts on these. Let's hear what you have to say on what the review committee is proposing. 0539161609. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Ilyasu.
Oh, Ilyasu, long time no here. How are you?
Long time. Merry Christmas in advance.
Thank you, Ilyasu. Merry Christmas in advance to you too.
I went to Cote d'Ivoire.
Okay, welcome back.
Yeah.
Ilyasu, share your thoughts with us. We are talking about the Constitution Review Committee and the Attorney General who has charged Chairman Wontumi and who will be charging Chairman Wontumi and Kofi Akpaloo for some fraudulent schemes.
Auntie, me paucho Chairman Wontumi. Enumuna kwa. Ena nature omo yesano. Ye will be more or mati omo party omo free people. Omo nyina ka ho. Ena omo so omo punish Chairman Wontumi. Ye tukuma nguna. Ibrahim mama fake check. Nana Dubai ye cheno. Ye to my muhanumuna. Omuji merchant bank loan. Omuji merchant bank omutinetria. Omu found esan to merchant bank. Nana do buy no ochi. Someone show omuji double salary, including Babel. Waji double salary, real Lantevanda Paul. So I want to give me omuji double salary. Nana do buy no say yefi. Ibrahim Mama or a businessman or Boma economy a group. Omo nyamhwe enti mpacho krono be na esi feature na obi a waje bisia akoye wakodofuo na funu asen bank na ewo say omo ni chemo nti biro enya ato jira na on jai kwase ya ma Iliasu we've not heard from you for a long time. You come on and then my viewers, I really apologize for that. I really apologize for that. Iliasu will start nicely and then disappoint me with using such words. My viewers, I really apologize for that. 053-916-1609. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
What's your name and where are you calling from, sir?
Yeah, my name is Ebenezer. I'm calling from Community 16.
Hi, Ebenezer. Thank you for calling. Let's hear what you have to say.
Okay, there's about the Constitutional Review Committee.
Right.
There's this that is I'm finding difficult to understand. Is it that the age limit before you can be a president, is it from 30 to 40 years, or from 30 years to 70, 80 years, or from 40 years to 80, that kind of thing? I want to get a clarification.
Okay. Well, so at this point, if you want to be a president, you should have attained the age of 40. The Constitution Review Committee is recommending that age limit be reduced to 30, and so a 30-year-old can also run for president in the country.
Okay, so it means a 40, 50, 60, you can still run as a president.
Right, you can.
Okay. Thank you. So you are doing very well.
Thank you, Ebenezer. Thank you for calling.
Okay, keep it up.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, so that's Ebenezer from Tema also sharing his thoughts. Let's hear what you two have to say. 053-916-1609. 053-916-1609. Let me go on Facebook. Teacher Kujo Tepa, okay, he sends a birthday wish today. It's not a comment. Teacher Kujo, let me read this for you. Teacher Kujo says, today we celebrate the birthday of Mr. Emmanuel Ofori, popularly known as Excellency Dis, a native of Tepa Akwesiase. He's a dedicated agronomist and currently serves as a NAGMO officer at Asante Mampo and the public relations officer to Honorable Eric Nanajiman Prempe, Member of Parliament for Ahafano North. On this special day, we join his family, friends, and well-wishers in wishing him good health, wisdom, and continued success in his professional and public service endeavors. May the year ahead bring greater achievements and fulfillment. Happy birthday to you, Emmanuel Ofori. And this is from Teacher Kujo Tepen. So Teacher Kujo, well, we have read your birthday wish for you. Let's hear what you two have to say. 053-916-1609. 053-916-1609. Call us and share your thoughts with us on the conversations we are having. Constitution Review Committee has given a lot, proposed a lot. Today, Samuel went through some of the recommendations, the key recommendations with us, and we'll look forward to seeing what the implementation will look like. All eyes on government at this point. Since we're entering into the Christmas, we expect to hopefully hear from them after Christmas. But the review committee says 5 years instead of 4 years for president, and says that for any president, you should cap your number of ministers at 57, nothing more than 57. Today, our guest even said that they can actually work with less than 57. We'll see how it goes for governments. But that's all for Ghana Speaks this morning on ABC in the morning. Let's take a break and return with more on the show. Stay with us.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Winning, easy. You know what be easy now? Kibo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Aye, easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kibo 4-in-1 Gary Mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore. This advert is FDA approved.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, come see what? Wait, this guy. My friend, see before.
It's the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telecel Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telecel Play app to opt in and start winning in the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto chiaka. Inti ene, uno ba no mpe baby amobeda. Oh no abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
You're welcome back. It's time for the latest in the world of sport. Yesterday, some teams played in the AFCON that Ghana is not represented at. I'll continue to be head till AFCON is over. Makion, you are welcome.
Thank you, Abena.
Yesterday, I couldn't watch. I thought I could watch, but by the time I got home, I couldn't watch. But I went on social media and I saw a very scary video. A picture, not a video.
Well, pictures.
Well. They said somebody had broken their neck. Is this so?
Oh, he didn't break his neck.
He didn't break his neck.
The picture, sometimes the picture doesn't tell the full story.
Okay.
Yeah, but it did happen, but he's okay. That's Parsons at Dhaka of Zambia after scoring that equalizing goal against Mali.
Oh, it was an equalizer.
Yeah, in the dying embers of the game, around the 90th minute.
Oh, he was too excited.
You could imagine the excitement and everything that happened. But I think he's okay now, and a lot of people are saying those kind of celebrations should be toned down. But
you know these are when I saw that they said a player had broken their neck, the first thing that came to my mind is maybe CAF should ban a certain kind of celebration so that you don't hurt yourself. Your neck. That's for your neck. Well, tell us what's happening.
So a lot is happening in the world of sports. Definitely, we'll bring you some AFCON stories. But let's start from home, from the Ghana Premier League. And BBN Gold Stars have announced a new head coach in the person of Marcus Smith Fritz. So there is Marcus Smith Fritz. He is the new head coach of BBN Gold Stars. This is a former assistant coach of Tottenham Hotspur, a former assistant coach of FC Basel. He has also coached the New Zealand national team before. Recently, he promoted Kotoku Royals from Division 1 to the Ghana Premier League for a very short stint, and he has returned to Ghana to coach BBN Gold Stars. Currently, BBN Gold Stars are third on the Ghana Premier League log with 25 points, and they'll be hoping to at least defend their title in the Ghana Premier League. So they have a new head coach. This is Smith Fritz Marcus.
Also, he's been in Ghana before, but for a very short time.
Kotoku Royals. He just qualified them to the Ghana Premier League and he left. But then, if you look at his CV, assistant coach of Tottenham Hotspur, assistant coach of FC Basel, head coach for the New Zealand national team. That's some heavy CV in there. And now he is the head coach for BPN Gold Stars. So let's see whether he can help them defend their title in the Ghana Premier League. And now still in the Ghana Premier League, let's head to Takwati and Park. And yesterday there was an outstanding game in the Ghana Premier League. Midiama Sporting Club played against Basake Holy Stars. That game ended 1-1. Disappointing for Ibrahim Tanko and his boys. Let's enjoy the highlights.
Jamal fails to do it well. Owusu and that's the open goal. Money Stars have stunned Kajama and the TNA. It is Moses Ata who breaks the deadlock. As well towards the half-hour mark of the game. It is Money Stars who have jumped into the lead against the home side, and Jose Taylor steps forward and bends on, pushed away by Tali, crossed in by Nkrumah, Kamara Jr. right to the header, and it's out by Moses Ata. Mediama wants the corner, facing. Walking for a drive for the tackle. Whistles for the Benswani. Biggest score in terms for Mediama. Not Nete whistles to bring the end. For the commencement of the second half here at the TNA. Here is Fuzi. Alfonso's header. Salim hits one. Out to the good one. With Jacob Amuma inside. Mubarak. It's assisted by.
So that's how the game ended. Mediama Sporting Club failed to go on top of the Ghana Premier League, though they have one outstanding game. They currently have 27 points. Now to the 5 ABENA, and yesterday interesting stuff happened. The first game was between Mali and also Zambia. Mali first of all had a penalty. El Bilal Toure missed that particular penalty, and then
in an opening match.
Yeah. So 2 penalties have been awarded so far in the AFCON, and 2 penalties have been missed. But after, so in the first game, Morocco missed the penalty.
Did you see how I'm feeling?
Yesterday, Mali also missed the penalty.
Every goal counts.
Every goal counts. But then after missing the penalty, Lassine Sinayoku went on to give Mali the lead. Then the dying members of the game, Patson Daka scored an interesting header